Welcome to episode 5 of In His Bag. We got a good show loaded up today, so without further ado, let's get straight into it. Cue the intro music.
Tedeschi dentro sotto per Dybala, attenzione, va la gioia di Dybala!
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang!
Welcome to the first episode of In His Bag. Today, we got the usual. We got the news before we tackle the main topic of the episode, and then we're going to play some games and then preview some of the games that are happening this weekend. So a lot of stuff happened in the world of sports, so it'll be fun to go over that. And then main topic, we'll be addressing some soccer, Champions League, and the round of 16 that was just finalized. So it should be fun. But let's start off with the news. It is the draft combine right now for the NFL. So we are right in the middle of that. And there have been some absolute freaks of nature. And the main one has been Ohio State linebacker Sonny Styles. He put on a monstrous performance on Thursday. He's a projected top 10 pick this year in the draft. It's insane. He put up a 43.5-inch vert. He ran a 4.46. He's big too. He's 6'5", 244 or something like that. So it's absolutely insane what he's doing right now. Let's take a look. We got 40.
Sonny Styles does it. Matches the time.
4.47 for a 40 by Sonny Styles at 6'5", 244 is ridiculous. And then in his vert, you see the slow-mo? Look how high he is off the ground. That's insane. What are we talking about here? So when they were going through all the draft comps, the main comp that they had him as was Megatron. Calvin Johnson. They had him compared to Calvin Johnson. That's not normal in the least bit. Like, to have a linebacker comp to one of the best wide receivers, an NFL Hall of Famer, that's an insane comp right there, and that only increased his draft stock, and he was already a projected top 10 pick. And then something was in the water with the Styles family, because his brother, Lorenzo Styles, ran a 4.28 40. He's a DB. He put on a blistering time on today. It's ridiculous. And then it continues. The freaks of nature continued with the tight ends. The Vandy tight end, Eli Stower, put up a 45.5-inch vert, which was the best from a tight end since 2003. And he also ran a 4.51 40. And then Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end from Oregon, had absolute afterburners and ran a 4.39. Like, what are we feeding these people that they're just putting up numbers that are absolutely ridiculous at this point in the draft? I feel like every year we see players who are just getting bigger, faster, stronger. Honestly, for me, when I realized this, it started with DK Metcalf when he put up monstrous numbers. I think he ran like a 4.38. He put up, I want to say, like 15, 20 reps on bench. There was that insane draft combine, or that insane picture of him prepping for the combine where he looked like Batman. So it's, for me, it started with DK Metcalf, and players are just evolving where they're just absolute freaks of nature. I will say, however, this can lead to some teams overdrafting or taking a player higher than they should have gone. I think for me, a key example of that would be Isaiah Simmons, who blew it out of the water, was a freak when it came to all the measurables and stuff like that. But he was drafted by the Cardinals as a linebacker, but he's bounced around a lot, linebacker safety type guy. So he hasn't really panned out. And I feel like with some of these athletic freaks of nature, you have home run hits like Nick Imwari, who was an alien last year at the draft, and you have other amazing players, but you also have the potential of a bust because they don't develop, or they're overly reliant on their athletic talent, and that can only take you so far when you're at the NFL level, which is the absolute best players in the world. But we're going to continue with the NFL draft combine, and we're going to look at Mel Kiper's projected first round. So we started off with the Raiders taking Fernando Mendoza, and then Caleb Downs from Ohio State is taken by the Jets at number 2, which is honestly a bit high for me. I don't know exactly if I would take Caleb Downs at 2, but it makes sense. The Jets, they need to bring in defensive talent after the fire sale that they've had. They got rid of Quinton Williams, Sauce Gardner, and Jermaine Johnson, as I'm going to talk about in like a couple minutes. So they need to bring in new talent, and I think Caleb Downs is the best safety, one of the best players in the draft process overall. Number 3, the Cardinals at 3, they have them taking David Bailey, outside linebacker from Texas Tech. And then 4 is Arvell Reese, who's a linebacker from Ohio State. I know I talked about Sonny Styles as freak of nature linebacker, but Arvell Reese is just as insane of an athlete. He was a freak of nature. I remember watching him the entire season at Ohio State, and he just popped out on the screen. He was bigger, faster, stronger than pretty much everybody else, and that's someone playing at Ohio State, which that defense has Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles, him, Caden McDonald. Like, that's a loaded defense right there. So having him stand out is insane. And then 5, the Giants are taking Spencer Fano. 6, the Browns are taking Carnell Tate from Ohio State. 7, the Commanders are taking Sonny Styles, which isn't bad. I like that. They need to revamp their defense, which is full of old players. It'll be nice for Sonny to learn from Bobby Wagner, who is an absolute legend and a mastermind. He can get the mind right. And then 8, the Saints are taking Mekhi Lemon. I've also seen them projected to pick Jeremiah Love, which I wouldn't be opposed to. So I feel like an offensive player is a way to go, really see what Tyler Shugg can produce. They have a decent offensive line. So just bringing in weapons for the Saints is ideal. And then the Chiefs taking Jeremiah Love. This is logical for me. It makes a lot of sense. Replace Pacheco and give the Chiefs offense some sort of weapon. And then the Bengals, Ruben Bain, D-end from Miami. That's logical. Trey Hendrickson is entering free agency this season, so they need anyone on defense, honestly, to really step up. Dolphins taking Francis Malgoa from Miami. I remember him. We same class from high school. Watching him, I believe he was in an IMG. I don't remember what school he was at, but in high school, but he was doing some insane stuff there. And then Cowboys are taking Mansour Delane, quarterback from LSU. I don't know if anyone on defense for the Cowboys helps, but I don't know exactly if they should be taking DB. I feel like more help in the linebacker room would be ideal, but then again, the top linebacker prospects are Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles, and those are probably top 10 picks. So I don't know what other possibilities at linebacker there are. And for Cowboys, I feel like if you miss out on those top linebackers and edge products, I would take your highest rated corner just because to boost up the defense because they really need it. At 13, the Rams are taking German McCoy from Tennessee. Again, shoring up the secondary like the Cowboys, but the Rams really need it. They have a good defensive line, front seven. It was the secondary that struggled a lot, so this is a great move for them, and I really enjoy this. And it's their key need right now because their offense is pretty much set too. The Ravens taking Jordan Tyson is interesting. I like it, giving them a weapon potentially to pair alongside Zay Flowers because they don't really have a passing attack. I've also seen them potentially taking an offensive lineman, which wouldn't be too bad of an idea. I like that as well, just because you have some uncertainty. They don't know yet what's going to happen with Tyler Linderbaum. I also feel like taking a D tackle, maybe Peter Woods or something out of Clemson, wouldn't be horrible because, again, like Linderbaum, you don't know if Madubuike what's his situation going to be like after that neck injury that had him sidelined for most of the season. And then 15, the Bucs are taking CJ Allen from Georgia, linebacker. It's just replenishing the linebacker room that is old because Levante David, he's played well. He racked up 114 tackles, but he's getting up there in age, so they need to replace him to some capacity. And then the Jets, their second pick in the first round, they're taking Peter Woods. I like this pick for them. Again, building on their defense that had that fire sale. This replaces Quinnen Williams pretty well. So there's some bonuses there. And then it's the most logical step for them. I don't know if you want to invest in the offense just yet. And the Lions taking Zion Young, DN from Missouri. That makes sense to me. The Lions' defense has been struggling, and they need some pressure opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. So this makes a lot of sense. And then Minnesota Vikings, Dylan Thieneman. I think safety from Oregon. Harrison Smith is old. He's 37. I don't know how much longer he's going to play. So bringing in another safety to replace him and also just shoring up a defense that isn't bad with what's his name? Brian, not Dayball, not Callan. Brian Flores. Shoring up a good defense that's run by Brian Flores that's very exotic. I think that's a good move for them. And Panthers bringing Keldrick Falk from Auburn. He's defensive end. Shoring up that defensive line is key for them. So that makes sense. And then the Cowboys, their second first-round pick, taking a D lineman this time, Akeem Mesidor, DN from Miami. That makes sense. This Mesidor is an old player. He had a 6-year college career. So bringing in I wouldn't call him a replacement for Micah Parsons, but bringing in a defensive end who can step in right away. He's a win now type of player, which is something that they would say in the NBA when players stay longer in college. He's a 6-year college guy in football, so he's, for me at least, he's a win now player, which kind of aligns with the Cowboys timeline. So this makes a lot of sense. The Steelers, they take Ty Simpson. I don't know how I feel about this. They could bring back Aaron Rodgers. They have Will Howard, so it's not exactly looking great. But then again, I don't know if this is the smartest thing in the world to do. Like, Tyson, I feel like they have greater needs than to bring in another, I think, forced quarterback in the draft. This kind of taking Ty Simpson kind of reminds me of taking Kenny Pickett. You didn't necessarily need to take him that high, and it seems a bit forced. So it's a bit iffy to me considering some of the other needs that they have to address, like the receiver room. DK Metcalf and Roman Wilson don't exactly move mountains for me, and their defense is also getting very old. So I feel like doing something else along those lines would be smarter than drafting a quarterback. And then 22, the Chargers taking Ione from Penn State is a guard. I'm not going to try and pronounce that first name. I'll butcher it to high hell, and all of my Islander friends will kill me for that. This makes sense. They absolutely need lineman help. Bradley Bozeman, I believe, retired. Rashad Slater tore his quad tendon or patellar tendon, one of the two. So we don't know how he's going to come back from that. Joe Alt suffered injuries. So everyone has the Chargers as having these two capstone tackles, but their interior line also struggled. This name is burned into my mind forever. They had Austin Deculus starting games for them. He was a lineman out of LSU, but not the point. So the fact that they just need help on the offensive line and bringing in Ione from Penn State is the most logical thing in the world for me. And then Eagles bringing in Kenyon Sadiq. I mentioned him earlier. He ran a 4.39 40-yard dash. This is the potential replacement for Dallas Goedert if the Eagles don't bring him back in free agency. And I like this for them. It's a good outlet valve for Jalen Hurts. And it's also just a good receiving option for them, considering also the potential that A.J. Brown will no longer be with the team. And then the Browns, there's their second pick. They take Monroe Freeling tackle from Georgia. This also makes sense because I believe their entire offensive line is unsigned. Yeah, their entire offensive line is unsigned. Cam Robinson, Joel Bitonio, Ethan Patrick, Wyatt Teller, and Jack Conklin. They are all unsigned free agents. DeJuan Jones is also unsigned. So bringing in a young tackle is the smart thing to do. Protect whoever they put in at quarterback. And then for the Bears, 25, they take Caden McDonald, defensive tackle from Ohio State. It makes sense for me. They needed help on the defensive line. It struggled throughout the season, so this is the smartest thing to do when all things considered. Buffalo Bills taking Denzel Boston, wide receiver from Washington. Again, this makes a lot of sense considering everything that happened with Keon Coleman. it gives Josh Allen a exit valve, a good deep threat, and it helps return Khalil Shakir back to his wide receiver 2 role. He's not a wide receiver 1, even though I got paid a boatload of money. Brandon Cooks and Gabe Davis don't exactly move mountains, and they're also free agents. So there's that as well. So bringing in, I believe he's a third ranked receiver in this draft, is the smart thing to do. And then 27, the 49ers bring in Caden Proctor, the tackle from Alabama. He was a monster. He's massive, and he moves very, very well. I think he had a rushing and receiving touchdown this year. And there are some questions about Trent Williams. So bringing in Proctor, who has a lot of potential. His highs are really, really up there, is a smart move for them. But also in general, they just need help on the offensive line. I feel like they're never truly, truly healthy on the offensive line, which is one of the reasons that they struggle a bit when it comes down to late in the season. So this move will really help them. I like this pick. And then Texans taking Jadrian Prince, the running back from Notre Dame. I don't know exactly if you want to take a running back, not to mention the RB2 for Notre Dame. I feel like drafting offensive line might be a better move. Just protect CJ Stroud, make sure that he feels comfortable in the pocket instead of getting the yips like he has been as of late, is something that would be better. I think Spencer Fano, if he falls to them, would be a smart move. They could also take Blake Miller, the tackle from Clemson. And honestly, whoever, just take their highest rated tackle for me would be smarter than taking a running back here. Because I feel like there are other running back apart from Jeremiah Love. I don't think there's exactly like a standout true running back that should be taken in the first round like there was last year. At 29, the Rams take Blake Miller with their actual pick, tackle from Clemson. This makes sense, bringing in young offensive line to be able to protect MVP Matthew Stafford. Rob Hammerstein retired for them. Warren McClellan is entering free agency, so there are some questions there. And just bringing in a tackle and just boosting the protection for Matthew Stafford is the smart thing for them to do. 30, you have the Broncos drafting Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, safety from Toledo. I don't know how much you want to add to the defense. I feel like it makes sense because defenses age out faster. Bringing in new young talent would be smart, but I feel like boosting the wide receiver room would be better. If Boston falls to you here at 30, I would take him just because it's, I don't know, the wide receiver room doesn't exactly move mountains over there in Denver, so maybe drafting some skill positions would be better than prioritizing the defense, which was, I believe, the third-ranked defense behind the Seahawks and the Texans. And then for the Patriots, they have them taking R. Mason Thomas, outside linebacker from Oklahoma. This Patriots just need to add more. I feel like, I don't know if you want to add to the defense. I would add more to the offense. Just because the wide receiver room was, again, like the Broncos, wide receiver room was really lacking, and Drake May did a lot for them. Throwing to Kayshon Boutte, Stephon Diggs isn't exactly ideal. Again, if Boston falls to you here, I feel like you take him. And I feel like you might want to boost up the offensive line as well. Just maybe not a tackle with the whole Will Campbell thing, or maybe you do want to draft a tackle and move Campbell to guard. That's up to you, but I feel like the offense should be prioritized over the defense, even though I think they ranked like third overall, third in offense and like fourth in defense, something along those lines. And then 32, the Seahawks taking Avian Terrell. This essentially is either replacing Reek Woolen or Josh Jobe, whoever does not resign for them on defense, because they're going to have to let one of them go. This is a good move for them, but like some of the other teams, could use an offensive lineman more over than anything else. But that's the mock draft right now. Mel Kiper's mock draft. So I think it's not bad. A lot of moves that made sense. A lot of picks that made sense. Some of them that I would go in a different direction. But again, the draft is in like a month and a half, 2 months in April. So a lot of stuff could change between now and then. And then the next piece of news is that George Pickens has been officially franchise tagged. It's no surprise. I've been talking about this ever since franchise tag window opened. It was the logical thing to do, the smart thing to do. George Pickens, you needed him to come back. You're essentially doing what the Bengals did with Burrow, Chase, and Higgins, but instead you're doing it with Dak, CD, and Pickens. I think that George Pickens is the better receiver right now than CeeDee Lamb, and just building around that explosive offensive attack is what you have to do, because as I just talked about with the draft, you're going to be prioritizing defense with the draft, so keeping the offensive talent that you have is ideal, and then move on with the defense through the draft is how you're going to build out a roster that will compete now, which is what I think Jerry wants to do. But then again, no one really knows what he wants. So after that, we had the first major trade of the NFL free agency, and the New York Jets have sent Jermaine Johnson to the Titans in exchange for T'Vondre Sweat. I mentioned this a bit earlier when I was talking about the fire sale for the Jets and their defense. This continues as they're trying to reset, move on completely from everything related to Robert Saleh. And Robert Saleh is bringing some of his old players in. Sweat had a good 2023 season. He made the Pro Bowl that year, but then he tore his Achilles the year after in 2024, and he struggled in 2025. So it'll be interesting to see what exactly happens with him and how well he performs. I remember there's a video about him and how when he was drafted, someone in the Jets front office was saying, "Oh, we needed someone to stop Josh Allen. This is that someone." So there was that. And then for T'Vondre Sweat going to the Jets, this is a good move. I was looking at Pro Football Focus as some of his stats. I think it was like top 4 or 5 for defensive tackle, and I think run stuffing or pass rush win rate or something along those lines. I don't exactly remember it off the top of my head, but he is a good young player. And then when you compare these two in terms of contracts, Jermaine Johnson's on the last year of his deal compared to T'Vondre Sweat, who still has 2 years left. So there's a big difference between that. And I think that for the Jets, I like this more for the Jets than I do the Titans. I think that the Jets overall won this trade. And then we're continuing with the NFL. It's peak free agency right now, so a lot of different stuff is happening. And Anthony Richardson has been given the green light to explore the great vast horizons of the NFL and seek a trade. So Richardson was the number 4 overall pick in 2023. He was only 20 years old when he was drafted, I believe. He was a project quarterback from the beginning, and it didn't work out as well as people would have liked. He only started 15 games in his career, I believe, 2 his rookie season, and then 11, and then 2 last year. I believe he has 20 total combined rushing, passing and rushing touchdowns, and 13 interceptions thrown. So he hasn't exactly been playing well. He's been hampered by a lot of injuries. There was a weird orbital fracture injury during pregame warmups with like a resistance band or something this year. He got beat out in a quarterback competition by Daniel Jones. So there's a lot of stuff that has gone wrong for Anthony Richardson. There was also the debacle of him taking himself out because he was tired. So it'll be interesting to see where he ends up exactly. Right now, obviously Malik Willis is the hot commodity in the free agency market for quarterbacks. I've seen him projected to the Steelers. I've tagged him to the Dolphins. And then you have the potential of Kyler Murray being moved and also Tua being moved. So I don't know. I put Richardson below all 3 of those quarterbacks, but I don't know how much teams would be willing to move for in terms of asset-wise for Anthony Richardson. And I don't expect it to be a lot. I'd probably say like a 4th or a 5th round pick. Probably not anything higher. I don't think he's definitely not worth a 1st or a 2nd. That is for sure. But that's all the NFL stuff. And now over to the NBA. Some weird stuff has happened. And by weird, I mean Taj Gibson weird. He's back. He's agreed to a deal with the Grizzlies. He's 40 years old. This is his 17th season. It's March basketball. That's all I have to say. I get so many notifications about people getting 10-day contracts. Mo Bamba is on a 10-day contract, I think, with the Raptors or something right now. So it's just 10-day contracts galore. There's bound to be some random 50-point game by some random person. But Taj Gibson to the Grizzlies wasn't exactly on my checklist of moves that were going to be made during March basketball this year. And neither was Kyle Anderson agreeing to a buyout with the Grizzlies so he could go to the Timberwolves after clearing waivers. I don't know what exactly is happening right now. Again, it's March basketball, even though we're not officially in March. I'm just lost here. I don't know what you want me to do, what you want me to say. This has just been bizarre. But not a bad move for the Timberwolves bringing in more depth. I'm not complaining about it for them. But that has been all of the major news that has happened in the world of sports. It is now time to get to the main topic of the episode. Welcome to the main topic of the episode, where we are going to be looking at all 16 of the Champions League teams that are left. So I think it is only right that we put all the teams into a tier list. We got 4 tiers. We got champions, competitive, good team, and polar bear. But I think it is only right to start off with the polar bear in Norway. And that is Bodo Glimt. They've been the surprise of the tournament so far. Coming out of the group phase of the Champions League, they were 23rd, so right on the edge. of making it. However, during their group phase, they did play well and they managed to beat City and Inter in Norway. And they also claimed road wins against Atletico Madrid, which made it to the round of 16, and also Inter at San Siro. So Bodo Glimt has been playing very well, surprising a lot of people. They knocked out Inter, which were last year's finalists, even though they did get smacked down by PSG in the finals. A lot of people didn't expect Glimt to pass through. It surprised me for sure, but they have shocked everyone. And then we'll go and we'll look at another team that I think shocked some people, and that is Galatasaray is also going into Polar Bear. Coming out of the group phase, they were 20th, so nothing horrible. And they faced off against Juventus, and on their home field, they claimed a 5-2 victory. Very dominant performance, and then after going down 3-0 to Juventus in Italy, they were able to come back and put two past Juventus to seal their spot in the round of 16. A lot of people didn't really think that they were going to end up here. So honestly, it was impressive for Galatasaray. Now, moving on. I feel like there's a couple of teams that I don't know if I want to put anyone else in Polar Bear, but I feel like Sporting. No, because Sporting is a good team. They finished in the top 8. They avoided the play-in altogether in the league section. They beat PSG, last year's champions, and they are very, very, very dangerous. But I don't see them going that far in the round of 16 and beyond. So I don't know if I can put them anywhere higher than competitive, but they're not a Polar Bear either, because Sporting is a well-known club all across Europe. They're a Portuguese powerhouse along with Porto and Benfica. So they can perform well, but not well enough that they're able to overcome these other teams. And I think a team that goes right along with them is Atalanta. Atalanta is the lone Italian team to make it to the round of 16. As I mentioned, Juventus lost to Galatasaray. Inter lost to Bodo Glimt. Napoli didn't even make it out of the league phase. So Atalanta is Italy's only hope when it comes to Champions League football. But I don't know how well they are going to perform. They were able to overturn a 2-0 first leg deficit against Dortmund to get to the round of 16. But I don't know how well they're going to fare after or in the round of 16. Even in Serie A, they're not exactly doing as well as they have been in previous seasons. They're still a good team, but compared to the other teams here, they're nowhere near as good or as ready when it comes to Champions League play. And I'll also put Tottenham in here. Tottenham is an interesting team. I think they're not bad. However, they don't exactly have the star power to put things together and put together a proper deep run in the Champions League and really challenge for a title or make an aggressive statement in European football. Even as it stands right now in the English Premier League, they are, I believe, middle of the table, looking up at everyone else. They don't have those iconic players like they used to with Sonny and Harry Kane. Now they're more reliant on, I guess, like Xavi Simons and other players like that, which Xavi Simons isn't bad, don't get me wrong, but he's not a world or game-changing player that is what teams need at this point in the Champions League if they want to make a statement. It's not going to turn out like some miraculous run like it was a couple years ago when they ended up making the finals against Liverpool. So Tottenham, good team, but not good enough to be competitive in the Champions League. And then we're going to follow that up here. I think it's only right to put Leverkusen next in competitive. I think, I don't know, because Leverkusen, they bounce back. They're bouncing back well after losing Xabi Alonso to Real Madrid, even though he's not the Real Madrid coach anymore. They lost a bunch of players too, Wirtz, Frimpong, and others. However, I don't know. I can't bring myself to put them higher competitive team. Like I said, the loss of some of those players, Xabi Alonso too, from that undefeated Bundesliga season, it moves me and makes me a bit concerned about what it's going to look like for them overall in the Champions League. And I don't like the rest of the teams in this tier. I don't think they have what it takes to necessarily make it past the round of 16 or really challenge for a deep run among some of these other teams. Like you look at these teams, Liverpool, Bayern, Real, Barcelona, PSG, City. Those are European powerhouses as it stands right now that have been ruling over Europe for ever at this point. And then we'll also put Newcastle here in good team. They're also another team that has not been playing too well in the league. Even in the group phase, they finished 12th, which isn't too far away from that cutoff line from not having to play in the elimination phase, but they still had to play in it. I don't know what exactly is going to happen with them. They're also missing several key players as well. Bruno Guimaraes, Livramento, and others. So that's a big issue for them. And I know I'm repeating this and I'm going on and on about it. But I don't think that these teams can challenge any of the other teams. Like I keep saying it, but it's true and also very realistic when you look at the overall bigger picture. And now we start to get a bit tricky here. When we look at it, I think I have to put Chelsea in competitive team. They're not bad. I like Chelsea. Very, very good team. Very solid squad. Chelsea has not been doing horrible. They have talent. They have a lot of talent. They avoided the elimination phase and were in the top 8. They finished 6th coming out, so here's that. However, I don't know how exactly I can put them in champions as it stands right now. They're not blowing me away. Even in their league play right now, like their last couple games, they tied Burnley, they tied Leeds. This is Premier League. They beat Chelsea, or they beat Wolverhampton 3-1, but they lost to Arsenal. Like, Arsenal is one of these teams that they might face if they make it to the finals, if you look at the bracket, which we'll look at later. So I don't know if I can put Chelsea much higher than this. And keeping in mind, these teams are not like ranked in order. They're just teams that come to mind that should be in competitive or not. But then outside of Chelsea, I think Atletico Madrid is another team that has to be in competitive. They're not bad. They have quality players. Julian Alvarez, Sorloth, Antoine Griezmann. They're playing well, even though they are third, I believe, third or fourth in La Liga, if I'm going off the top of my head right now. They're not bad, but this is something that I've been repeating the whole time. I don't know how well they're going to be able to hold up against these other teams. Like, you look at the teams right now that I have left. Liverpool, champions. Bayern, champions. Real, champions. Barca, champions. City, champions. PSG, champions. So, like, I can't really hold them to that standard. And there's a reason that I skipped over Arsenal. Arsenal, they're a great team. However, when you look at the Premier League right now, they are in a battle with City that is getting tighter by the day. So I think that they could ultimately be distracted from the Champions League by their willingness to hold on to that Premier League title. They did do very well in the league phase, so I will give them that. In the league phase, they came out, they were first, they were undefeated, 8 wins, 23 goals total. They played amazing. It's a great team. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're not good. It's an amazing squad with amazing quality players. But when you take into consideration that battle that they're having right now in the Premier League with Manchester City hot on their tails, I think that that's something that you can't really avoid. And Arteta is going to have to make the choice between focusing on the Champions League and focusing on the Premier League. And I think ultimately that he'll try to focus on the Premier League more than the Champions League, just because they're already in the lead and they don't have the uncertainty of far European travel and things like that. So there are some issues that have to be addressed there. And then one last team that I'm going to put here. I don't know. I don't know. I want to put right now Manchester City. Yeah, Manchester City in competitive as well. This is kind of related to Arsenal and what I was talking about earlier. They're in a tight battle with Arsenal right now. They're closing in on the gap. So there is that issue again for them. Like Arsenal, are they going to focus on the Champions League versus the Premier League? That's something that we have to look out for. And then when you look at group stage, they just barely managed to pass by, finishing 8th in the group stage, finishing 8th in the league phase, in avoiding the elimination games. So there is that. It'll be interesting to see what happens overall. I think it's interesting with City because they definitely have the players, they have the talent on the squad, they have the coach as well. So they could very well be champions and surprise everyone, including me. But I don't necessarily think that they have what it takes to really push past the other teams. And I don't know. Now that I'm looking at this, yeah, we are going to move these teams over to make room for one more, and that is Liverpool. Liverpool has not been playing amazing. They've been on and off in terms of the Premier League and just in general, an up and down season. They did manage to avoid, they played well in the league phase, winning 7 of their games. They scored 20 goals. They won 6 of their games. Sorry about that. 20 goals, won 6 of their games. So they didn't play poorly. They played really well, in fact. However, like I've said, they've been inconsistent the whole way. So there's that. I think they definitely have the talent. It's there, it's present. There's no mistaking it. So if I think, like City, Liverpool have the chance to surprise a lot of people, including me. So I think City and Liverpool are 2 teams that could possibly leap over into champions, and I wouldn't be too surprised if that happens. But now we get into champions. First of all, PSG. You go in there. When you look at their team, they've brought back essentially everybody except for Donnarumma. They have the Ballon d'Or winner with Dembele. They have amazing players. They have Kawa. They have Vitinha. Like, they have Due. Their team is amazing. I think that they can do a lot with what they have, and I believe that Luis Enrique can coach this team well past the round of 16 and take on any of the other teams that they face if they continue. But one of the teams that I personally think that this team might win it is Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich, they finished second in the league phase, just behind Arsenal. They won 7 of their games. They scored 22 goals. They are just dominant. When you look at the roster is incredible. They have Kane, Luis Diaz, Olise, Musiala. I love Joshua Kimmich too. One of my favorite midfielders. Company is coaching them to an amazing, amazing level overall. So I think that Bayern Munich could seriously challenge PSG for the title. People talk about their dominance domestically, but I don't think that they give them enough credit for the way they've been playing in the Champions League, even though they've only won it once. I think in the last 10 years, if you don't look at who won, but just look at placings within that, they've done extremely well. And they've just been dominant across everything that they've done. And then we get to the 2 Spanish teams here. We got Real Madrid. Even though they got rid of Xabi Alonso, early on in the season. They're still second in Serie A. They had to play in the group stage or in the elimination stage. They finished ninth in the league phase. So they had that issue to deal with. However, like Bayern Munich, Real Madrid's roster and squad is incredible. They have so much talent. Mbappe, Vini, Jude Bellingham, like we can just keep going on and on and on. And I think that they could be a very, very tough outing overall. But I think Barcelona is the other real challenger for the title along with Bayern Munich. This is not for my bias because I am a Barcelona fan, but they are just extremely talented, extremely good. The young talent that people have been raving about for the past 4 seasons is legit. They deserve all the praise that they get. They're absolutely incredible. They're sitting first in La Liga right now. And even when you look at what they did last year in the Champions League, they just barely lost to PSG. And whoever won that game was going to win no matter what. So I think Barcelona has a really good chance to come out and win this year. They're playing extremely well on all fronts. So this is my tier list of all the teams. But that's not all we're going to do in this part. We are also just going to look at the bracket, and I am going to give my predictions for everything that is going to happen. So we are going to start off with PSG and Chelsea. I talked about it earlier that PSG has all the talent in the world, and they are going to repeat. They're going to do well in the Champions League, and that starts off with beating Chelsea. Chelsea, not a bad squad, but I don't think they can put up with the level of talent and competition on PSG. I named out the PSG players: Vitinha, Dembele, Doué. Like, they can't compete with that. I believe Luis Enrique as well is a tier or two above the Chelsea coach, Liam Rossignol. So they will be emerging from that. And then between Liverpool and Galatasaray, I believe Liverpool is going to come out. Even though they've been up and down, I don't think Galatasaray has the talent to really compete with Liverpool, even though they do have a lot of former Premier League players, including Leroy Sané, Ilkay Gundogan, and others. I think that it's just the roster and the quality of play on Liverpool that's just going to overtake them and allow them to get to the quarterfinals. And we're just going to continue down between Real Madrid and Manchester City. I think Real is going to come away with it. These two teams have met in four previous seasons. Sorry, my English is not Englishing right there. And they played in the league phase as well in Madrid in December. So every time these two teams have played, it's been an absolute show. You can't complain about it in any way. They've beaten each other each 5 times. There have been 5 draws when you look at the history of the two teams playing each other. And then when you look at their two superstars, Mbappe and Haaland, Haaland has 3 goals in 6 appearances. Mbappe has 7 goals in 7 games against City. So it's a great game. But ultimately, I think that Haaland, who has struggled somewhat against Rudiger, will struggle again. So that's why I'm going to tilt it slightly in Real Madrid's favor. But also, I think I mentioned it earlier, City is going to be tired. They're going to be constantly fighting with the Premier League and Arsenal battling for that Premier League title. So I think that's going to take some of their gas tank, which is why I'm leaning towards Real Madrid there. And then Bayern Munich and Atalanta, I'm easily taking Bayern Munich. I mentioned Atalanta, the only Italian team to make it out of the league phase, make it to the round of 16. They played well, however, Bayern Munich is dominant and they destroy sides who are worse than them, as they should. I think, as I mentioned, they went and won 7 of their games in the league phase. So they're going to cruise past Atalanta to make it to the quarterfinals. And then when you look at the other side of the bracket, we're going to start off with Barcelona and Newcastle. I mentioned I think Barcelona is one of the potential teams that could win it. So I am going to take Barcelona to beat Newcastle. They played in the league phase. Marcus Rashford played amazingly in that game, leading them to a 2-1 victory in St. James's Park in England. And I think that their young talent will continue to carry them. As I mentioned, Newcastle is missing players. Bruno Guimaraes, Tino Livramiento. So right there, those are players that they're missing. And I think that they're going to play the second leg in the Camp Nou, first leg in St. James's Park. So unless Newcastle comes out with all cylinders firing, they're going to be in for a rough ride. And then we get into Atletico Madrid versus Tottenham. I'm taking Atletico Madrid here. Tottenham, as I mentioned, not exactly one of these elite teams that you really think of. And then I mentioned that for Atletico Madrid, they are 4th in La Liga, I believe. And you have Julian Alvarez playing well. You have Alexander Sorloth playing well. You have Antoine Griezmann still playing well at 34. So I believe that attacking trio right there is going to be able to carry them past Tottenham, who isn't exactly playing well. They're middle of the Premier League table, and their defense isn't exactly world-renowned. And then we get to kind of the disgusting corner of the round of 16. First one of these matchups, you have Bodo versus Sporting. I went with Sporting here, even though Bodo does have the momentum. They're playing extremely well. I just think Sporting will come away with the win, even though I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if Bodo can carry their wave of momentum and really win their game at home in Norway and then maybe tie and stun Sporting to carry them farther along. And then you get Leverkusen and Arsenal, the final game of the round of 16. I think Arsenal is going to walk away with this. However, it's just because of the level of talent. I mentioned that Arsenal will, like City, will be tired with that Premier League battle. However, I still think that Arsenal is the much better squad overall that can do a lot more stuff than Leverkusen. And then we get to the quarterfinals. First quarterfinal is PSG Liverpool. I'm going with PSG. Again, I'm harping on the talent that they have there. Luis Enrique is a great coach as well. And I think that they're just going to be able to edge out Liverpool. I know that last year it was a tight match that ended up going to penalties, if I'm not mistaken. I think PSG won 4-1 on penalties after they split the games 1-0 each. However, I think that this year Liverpool has been a lot more inconsistent than they were last year, and PSG has the talent. Again, the talent. They have also the experience now with winning the Champions League, so they have that Champions acumen, that Champions mentality and prestige that will carry them past Liverpool. And then a real heavyweight bout off the bat in the quarterfinals, Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. I think that Bayern is going to come away with this. I think that they just have the more talented roster. I've been talking about the German dominance. I think they're going to play amazingly well. And then Real Madrid, I think, first of all, they're going to be in a war with Manchester City, so they're going to be tired from that. But then also, something I didn't necessarily mention is that they are only 1 point behind Barcelona in the La Liga table. So if things get tight there, they're going to continue battling. Their players are going to continue playing there, so they could potentially get tired. Bayern Munich, on the other hand, can easily handle the Bundesliga. So I think Bayern Munich gets the advantage on that as well. But then when you look at the matchups, I think that Bayern Munich's attack is just better overall. I think that they can really challenge that Real Madrid back line. They're a lot more dangerous. Again, I mentioned Harry Kane, Luis Diaz, Olise, Musiala. I think that that's more dangerous than what Real Madrid presents, even though they're presenting Vini, Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, Arda Güler. I just think that Bayern Munich is going to be the better team overall. And then similarly, when it comes to Barcelona and Atletico Madrid, I think Barcelona is just the better team overall. When you look at it at all positions, even though the Atletico Madrid attack is good, I mentioned them earlier: Julian Alvarez, Sorloth, Griezmann. Barcelona has Lamine Yamal, Rafinha, Lewandowski up front. They have Pedri, which, for my money, is top 3 midfielder in the world right now. They have good goalie too. Oblak is good, but he's getting up there. They have great defense as well. They're just young all around, and then they have players coming off the bench. Barcelona has a lot of talent coming off the bench, a lot of La Masia products, so they could do a lot better. And I believe their ceiling is a lot higher than Atletico Madrid, and I think that Hansi Flick is perfectly capable of bringing out that talent from this Barcelona team. And then you look at Arsenal and Sporting. I think Arsenal is able to make it through just on the talent of their team: Bukayo Saka, Declan Rice, and all the others. I think they beat whoever comes out of that Sporting Bodo Glimt matchup. So Arsenal has the talent, and that alone will carry them to the next round. And then we get to the semifinals. We got Paris Saint-Germain versus Bayern Munich. I'm going to ride with Bayern Munich here. I just think they're better than PSG, personally, in my opinion. They're more aggressive. They're more lethal when it comes to the offensive end of the pitch. Again, talent on both teams is extremely high. Two extremely good teams. But I believe that, honestly, as it's shaking out right now, I think Company is getting on level with Luis Enrique, which is crazy to say because Enrique has been coaching for a long time. He coached Barcelona when they were amazing. He coached the Spanish national team, and Company is just starting out. But I think that Bayern Munich, just the way they play, with their style, their aggression, they're lethal. I think that they'll be able to carry past PSG. And then Barcelona and Arsenal, two teams that are currently sitting at the top of their respective leagues by close margins. I think that Barcelona is able to come away with it. Again, because I think Arsenal, I mentioned this earlier, I think Arsenal is going to prioritize the Premier League more compared to Barcelona. But I also just think that Barcelona, I've been talking about this the entire time, Barcelona is the more talented roster overall. So that will help them, but also they're more creative. I think this is also kind of just a bias for me as a fan. I enjoy watching Barcelona play way more than I enjoy watching Arsenal play. I feel like Arsenal, the entire Premier League in general, is a more static, slower style that is more just keep possession, don't do anything stupid. I think Barcelona will be able to attack some of the flaws that Arsenal presents in a way that is just tough for them to handle. I think Barcelona is going to be able to come away with that victory. And then in the finals, I have Bayern Munich and Barcelona, two European powerhouses, European legacy teams. I have Barcelona ultimately coming away with it. They were disappointed last year, but I think they're able to capture it this year, capturing a title for a very young team, setting them up for a amazing run in the future. It will be a tight game. Don't get me wrong. That'll be a very tight matchup. I think it'll be like 1-0 Barcelona or maybe 0-0 and they go into penalties. That's a very high possibility for me. I can also envision a path in which these teams end up like 2-2 or a higher scoring game because, as I mentioned, both sides, the attacking power for both of these teams is incredibly high. So things could turn out there as well. So that has been all of my thoughts on the Champions League, everything that's going to happen, including my predictions and my rankings for the teams. So it'll be interesting to see how right or how wrong I was in the end. I can't wait to watch Champions League football. It's honestly the best time of the year for me. Apart from the fact that Juventus, which is my true team that I will root for till the end of the earth, has been eliminated. Sadness for me. Not exactly, this is kind of going off on a tangent, but I think it's worth going off on this tangent with the Italian teams. I think that the Italian soccer has been struggling as of late. There's no hiding it. They haven't been performing well. Juventus hasn't been playing well in the Champions League at all since, I believe, they made the finals against Real Madrid 2016, I believe it was. It was a while ago, though. So Italian soccer has been struggling a lot. Atalanta was the only team that made it out of the league phase to the round of 16, and even then, I have them getting massacred by Bayern. I can see this being a 5-0 game. So Italian football, Italian soccer in general is just at a state that it has to recover. A lot of the young talent is leaving Italy as well, which is a major issue. So there's an issue there, but that's a whole another can of worms right there. I'll leave the soccer talk at that, and I'll transition over to game time in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to game time. The first game that we're going to start with is guessing the most valuable sports teams across the world. So let's get started. Got 5 minutes. First one is the Cowboys. And I'll go 49ers, Patriots, Lakers, Celtics. Are the Warriors on here? Warriors are on here. The Bulls. We'll go Yankees, Dodgers, NFL teams. I said the Patriots. The Packers on here. I don't know. The Knicks. The Nets are not. The Nets are on. Are we just gonna name NBA teams here? No, we're not. Well, I'll try to knock out the foreign teams first. Juventus, not on here. Inter, not on here. Who was that Italian team? Milan, not here. Who is that Italian team right there? I don't know, and it's bothering me. Bayern Munich. It's not the German team, apparently. Ferrari. Oh, that's the Italian team. Is Red Bull on here then? No. Well, Barcelona is on here. Real Madrid is on here. We've got a couple English teams. Manchester United. Manchester United. Chelsea. Who's that other? Liverpool is that other English team. All these American teams. Who are they? Miami Heat are on here. Okay. Other big teams. The Hawks are definitely not on here. The Clippers. I hate that. Mavericks. Spurs. Rockets. Pelicans. Bucks. Nope. Pacers. Nope. Raptors. Oh, the Raptors are on here. Oh, that's the Canadian team. Okay. Golden Knights. That's disgusting. There's no way. Panthers. Tampa Bay Lightning. Are the Giants on here? Not the Giants I was thinking about. I was thinking about the San Francisco Giants. Padres. Buccaneers. Saints. No, the Saints are on here. Browns. Bengals are certainly not on here. Ravens. Steelers. Jets. Bills. Broncos. Chiefs. Raiders. Oh, God. Chargers. It's all NFL teams. Can I just list out all the NFL teams? Rams. Seahawks. Cardinals. Vikings. Bears. Packers. Lions. Who else? Let's say the Falcons. And then we got Dolphins, Jets. I said that division. Titans, Texans, Colts, and Jaguars. Timberwolves, there's no way they're on here. OKC Thunder, not on here. So it was essentially the entire NFL with a couple NBA teams. What is that German team? Mercedes-Benz? Oh, it is Mercedes. Okay. Nice. Who are these other teams that are slipping my mind right now? Trailblazers? Yeah. Oh, the Eagles, the Commanders, the Dolphins, the Sixers, the Suns. Really? Interesting. Very interesting. I should have gotten the Eagles, though. That was pretty obvious. Okay. Now we're going to get into some NFL games. First one, we got to guess this team. We got 2 Alabama linemen, but there's a Penn State running back and an Ole Miss wide receiver. That can only be Philadelphia Eagles. Yep. And then we will build a lineup here. Okay, looking at this, who do we want to take? I feel like Dak Prescott for $2 is a steal. And then I like Jordan Addison at 3. And Puka Nacua. And you take CMC and Dallas Goedert. Honestly, that's the best lineup that you can make. I'd like to see 23% of people agree with me. It's the most popular lineup, obviously. Now, let's build an NFL roster. We got 9 slots we can pick from. We got quarterback, running back, tight end, 2 wide receivers, the coach, offensive line, defense, and a defensive player. So let's get started. The first team that we are going to get, please set us up well off the start. Ew. Oh, no. No. That's not good. Who do we take here? Do we hope Robert Saleh? I think we hope Robert Saleh can do something for us. Okay. That's a horrible start to this. Let's see if we can do any better. Oh, no. This is the worst start I could possibly have. The New York Jets. Who do we take with the Jets here? Okay. They don't have defensive players. They got rid of all of them. They don't have a tight end. They don't have a quarterback. They don't really have wide receivers apart from Garrett Wilson. They have Breece Hall. And the O-line is... I'll take the Jets O-line. It's halfway decent. But that's not what I want at all. That scares me a lot. Please. Chicago Bears. Who do I want to take from the Chicago Bears? Oh, that would have been so nice if I could have picked Ben Johnson. I'll take Caleb Williams with his heroics. He was absolutely lethal down the stretch. I'll take that. After that, who do we get next? Please. Broncos defense. Yes. Broncos defense. Okay. We're not doing horribly right now. We have coach, O-line, an amazing defense, and a good quarterback. I just need to absolutely load up on talent on the offensive end. We'll take. Ooh. I'm taking Kyle Hamilton. And we're adding that to the Broncos defense, which is disgusting. Okay, now we need to lock in with these skill players. Running back, tight end, and 2 wide receivers. Ew. I guess we'll go Kelsey. That's not exactly great, but they don't have running backs or wide receivers right now. Maybe if they pick up one during the draft or during free agency. Cardinals. Oh, no. Oh, no. No, this is... Calvin Ridley, I guess? That's disgusting. That's truly nasty work right now. Please give me good players. Okay, this thing hates me. I'll go Travion Henderson as a running back. Please give me a good wide receiver one, a elite ball hog. Please. Oh my gosh. No. My skill positions are so bad. All right, let's read out the roster. Quarterback, we have Caleb Williams. Running back, we have Travion Henderson. Tight end, Travis Kelce. Wide receiver 1, Garrett Wilson. Wide receiver 2, Calvin Ridley. Coach, Robert Saleh. Offensive line of the Jets. The defense, though, is amazing. I have the Broncos defense, and you add Kyle Hamilton to that. So maybe this turns out to be Texans 2.0? Maybe. It looks like it. With a disgusting defense, maybe the offensive line can do something. And Caleb Williams plays a lot better than CJ Stroud. That's all I'm going to say. So this looks like Texans 2.0. Next thing that we are going to do, we are going to switch it over. We're going to go to soccer and do a foot draft simulator, old FIFA 20. Absolutely love this. We'll start the formation off with a 4-2-3-1. Give me a good captain here. Ooh, who do I take? I think I have to take Socrates for the chemistry. And then Immobile, I guess. Sure, maybe. Willian? Sure. Oh no. I'll take him. Maybe he can link up in the Premier League somehow. Seedorf. Please give me. Oh no. Brazilian. Better than nothing. We get some chemistry there. After that, right back. Nelson Semedo gives us zero chemistry. Lenglet does give us chemistry, though. That's not whole delict. And then Alexandro also gives us some more chemistry. And then who do we put in goal here? We have Bruno. Yeah, I think we take Bruno because he gives us some chemistry. I need to fix my wow. Do I take Roberto Carlos? Or do I take Zambrotta? I'm taking Zambrotta because ideally he fixes the chemistry. Yeah. Chemistry goes from an 86 to... He gives us 9 chemistry. That's crucial. Take Dele Alli. Not horrible. After that, Lukaku, I guess. Please. Oh my gosh. Take him. We'll put Ronaldinho there. Oh no, I lose chemistry. Okay, we'll stick with that for now. See what happens. Marquinhos. Interesting. Oh. Oh, wow. Very nice. 97 Buffon. Ooh, Sergio Ramos. Very nice. I need chemistry. chemistry. There we go. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how you fix your chemistry. Do I have room for Kai Havertz or not? I'm going to take Sol Campbell for the potential of him fixing my chemistry, which he does. And then we'll take him. Please. We'll take De Jong. And then we'll take Diego Jota. R.I.P. Rice. You were amazing. Gone but never forgotten. And as this pans out, we have a 190. Not bad. Not bad at all. I will say that 80 on the wing is kind of cooking me right now. So is an 82. But I can't really do anything about that. Could I add? I can add Diego Jota. Never mind. Not complaining. Ooh, we got a one. We managed to get the chemistry up to a 191. Very nice. But I think this is the best that we are going to be able to do right now with this roster. It's very good. I'm not going to complain at all. 191. All right. Now we're going to go back to wheel spinning to make a soccer team like we did with the NFL. Let's get it started. Who do we have here? First player. It's from Benfica. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Otamendi plays at Benfica. Otamendi. If he doesn't, you can come at me later. But I'm pretty sure he plays at Benfica right now. Give me someone good. Tottenham. Who do I want from Tottenham right now? Interesting. Sonny left. Harry Kane left a while ago. Who do I want from Tottenham on my roster? This is not good. This is very, very not good. Even though they are in the round of 16 for the Champions League, the one player that I can think of right now is Xavi Simons, transferred to Tottenham, so we'll put that down for now. Next player, give me someone good. Give me a quality player here. I really, really need it. Oh, no. No, not from Ajax. Oh, this game does not... These wheels do not like me today. The only player that is coming to mind for Ajax... Don't ask me why I was looking at this, but I was looking at their goal scorers for some reason. I think it was Tolhoek leads them in goal scoring right now. Is it spelled like that? No, I think it's that. Wait, that. I think that's right. I don't know. Don't quote me on this. My knowledge of Ajax and the Dutch league is a bit lacking. Please. Thank you. Thank you so much. With blessing me with Lamine Yamal. That is amazing. I needed that. Who else? Oh, no. Keep going. Oh, I thought of Xavi Simons. Who else is on the Tottenham roster? The only player that's coming to mind right now is disgusting Bentancur. I don't even know if that's how you spell his name. He used to be on Juventus, and he went to Tottenham. That is the only reason that I recognize him and remember him. Please give. Yes. Okay. Rafinha. There we go. Not bad. Now I just need a good defense. Who do I take from Roma? The only player that's coming to mind right now is Mancini, I think. Is how you spell his name? I could be very wrong, though. I think he plays center back. Hopefully. Juventus. Thuram. Okay. Now I just need my 2 outside backs and my keeper. Please give me someone good. Right. Out of all the teams. Out of all the teams. I could have had Olise. I could have had Harry Kane, Luis Diaz. We are going to go with Alphonso Davies. Come on. I need a good right back and at least a good goalie. Please. Atletico Madrid. I guess we'll take Oblak. And then one last player, a right back. Please be good. Please, Fuel, save me somehow. Inter. Who is the Inter? Inter right back. Inter right backs. Marco? Who are these Inter right? My mind instantly went to Marquisio, which I know is not right. Who do I put at right back here? Wait. Inter doesn't play with 4 a traditional right back, do they? No, they go through. Oh, they have wing backs. Who do I put here then? Wait, who's that German guy? I remember watching him. B something. Bisek. German guy, I think. I am not happy with this roster at all. This scares me. My wheel spins have not been nice to me today. I'll read it out. I got Oblak in goal. In front of him, I got Davies on the left, Mancini and Otamendi in the middle, then Bisek on the right. Midfield, I got Bentancur, Kefren Thuram, and Xavi Simons. And then up front, I got Rafinha, Tolhek, and Lamine Yamal. Not exactly thrilled about this at all. So, not thrilled with that. So, we're going to leave these wheels alone, and we are going to go to a classic guessing game. He is not on Manchester United. Is he? He's not in the midfield. Go Bukayo Saka. He's a forward. Okay. He's not an Arsenal. No, because Bernardo Silva is also a midfielder and he's not old enough. Haaland. Okay. What team does this guy play for? Alexander Isak? No, he's not on Liverpool. This is a bit of an issue. Okay. Who do we have left? He's not on City, Arsenal, United, Liverpool. We'll guess Chelsea. Who is a Chelsea player? Chelsea forward. Esteval. He's not on Chelsea either. Esteval is too young anyways. Not on Chelsea. No. Who is this player? I have 3 guesses left. This is not good. It's not. This is very bad. Liverpool, West Ham. I don't know who. I know this is not how you do it. He's not on Tottenham either. He's an older player. Who is this? I'm not doing this right at all, and I don't think I'm going to be able to guess this player. Oh, he's not on Tottenham, Chelsea, Liverpool, City, Arsenal, or United, and he's a forward. That's all I know. Who in the world could this be? Nope. And it's my last guess. Yeah. No? Who was this? Kaoru? Yeah, there's no way I was going to get him. I completely forgot about him, honestly. That is on me. That is a very disappointing round. I apologize for that. Games have not been kind to me today at all. Hopefully, I redeem myself with some NBA Podol. He's a guard in the East, taller than 6'2". Asar Thompson. Isn't Asar a guard? He's not in the Central Division now. At least I'll put that. Who do we have next? Derek White. I am telepathic. You cannot faze me. You cannot touch me. I am a god at Podol. Don't mess with me. I love Podol. Now, we go to Hoop Goat. Blind tier list. Draylen Brown. I feel like is a safe 3. John Havlicek. Okay. Do we think these are Celtics legends? Robert Parrish, Drew Holiday, tier 4. Peyton Pritchard, tier 4. Gordon Hayward, tier 4. Dingus Bingus, tier 4. That's to put Kyrie there is blasphemous. Al Horford, Sam Jones, not bad. Celtics legends, not horrible. Does not agree with me. John Havlicek should have been higher. Al Horford probably should have been lower. And it's just Kyrie. They hate him. They hate Kyrie Irving with a burning, burning passion. Who do we... We'll do one more blind tier list. We'll go MVPs. MVP Dirk? Put him tier 3. MVP, I hate to say this, tier 4 Derrick Rose. Michael Jordan, tier 1. Thank you. Wilt Chamberlain, tier 2. David Robinson goes in tier 4. Dr. J. I'll put him in tier 4. Kobe, tier 3. Hakeem, tier 2. I am okay with that. Jokic, tier 3. That is not bad. And then we'll do one, keep 4. We'll do 1, 2. Keep 4, cup 4. Do Jalen Brunson, Patty Mills. Yeah, we're cutting Bradley Beal. Ooh, nice. Nice. Trae Young, get out of here. Ooh. This is... I have to cut Clyde. I'm sorry. My goat, Karl Anthony Towns. That's not bad. I'm not complaining about that. That's great. Let's see. I lied about doing 2 of those. We're going to do start, bench, cut. Oh, wow. Okay. LeBron has to start, even though he's not the GOAT. That is one Michael Jordan. But then we have the dilemma. Do we take Steph Curry or Kobe Being Bryant? I'm letting bias take this. Steph Curry. I don't care. I'm a Golden State Warriors fan at heart. And I will forever be a Warriors fan. Okay. What in the world? We go from LeBron, Kobe, and Curry to LaMarcus Aldridge, Cat, and Kevin Love. I feel like that's the most logical. People don't know about LaMarcus Aldridge. He was nice. And that's just Penny. Never mind. Okay, get out of here, John Morant. That's staying chalk. Okay. I think keeping it chalk there was a good way to end things. That has been game time. I had some fun. I did get messed over by a couple of those wheels, and that was a bit unfortunate, but I hope you guys enjoyed game time. Let's preview some of these games. We are going to look at the upcoming schedule now. So, there weren't exactly any crazy games in the Pro Sports League. There were a couple good soccer games. The first one is Arsenal facing off against Chelsea at 11:30 a.m. on Sunday. And then that is followed up by a great game between the Spurs and the Knicks at 1 p.m. And then Roma and Juventus at 2:45. All of these games are happening on Sunday, so this is how I'm going to spend my day. And honestly, I'm not complaining. And then college hoops. Man, there are always good games when it comes to college hoops. I feel like every time we come to look at the upcoming games, there's some amazing college hoop games. So the first game is number 1, Duke versus number 11, Virginia at 12 p.m. on Saturday. And that is followed up by number 2, Arizona, and number 14, Kansas at 4. And then number 4, Iowa State versus number 16, Texas Tech, also at 4. And then to wrap up the weekend, and / Monday of games. We got number 4 Iowa State versus number 2 Arizona at 9 p.m. on Monday. These are honestly some amazing games. College hoops is providing this season in a spectacular way. So I can't wait to tune into all of these. But that has been episode number 5. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had a fun time. It's not too much news. I had a fun time looking at the Champions League, though. It should be interesting. Game time was great, even though those wheels did royally screw me over. And I have a great weekend of games to look forward to. So I will catch up with all of you on Tuesday with the results of these games and the news of everything else that has happened. So I will catch you on Tuesday.